Hello, this is Ken Botticher, also known as BadKen in the BattleForge forums and Carch in the game. The 4th BattleForge PVE Community Challenge was held on the single-player map, the Treasure Fleet, and there were 3 tiers available. This is the winning replay in the Expert tier, and as usual in these challenges, certain cards were restricted, but also this time TBird came up with a bunch of achievements that you could accomplish while doing the replay. And Obstbaum really knocked it out of the park by getting pretty much every achievement that's possible. So we'll go over those later in that, but to start off with here, he begins with a scavenger and starts building up his first couple of power wells right away. As usual at the start of the map, getting power is important so that you can get your units rolling and get started doing some of the early goals. He takes his scavenger south, and he's going to drop a mine here right next to the Twilight Healer, and he went left first before going after the ranged units. Now usually when there's in these expert replays, there's a reason why people make every move they make, and I'm guessing that he went left first so that he would prevent those Twilight Claws from getting in range of the mine, so it would do more damage to the healer, and then he went to the right to go after the ranged units that wouldn't go towards the mine anyway. Or maybe he just felt like going left first, I don't know, but my guess is he did it on purpose. And up here, he drops another mine, which takes care of almost all of these small units, all but one, in fact, which lets his scavenger come out pretty much undamaged from that fight. He builds up the second orb, which is going to be a frost orb, and then goes and finishes off the nearby Twilight infestation. He summons some looters, and I recently found out on the forums that looters don't use their looting ability in PvE. I don't know if that's still a bug that's in the game or if it's intended or what, but they still make a great swift unit and a good escort to his scavenger. He puts up a cannon tower to defend the first orb, summons some Sunstriders, and he's accomplishing the first of many achievements right here by running around. This is one of the sillier ones, running around one of the Treasure Fleet ships 3 times with 3 different units. He put a juice tank on his first power wells, and that'll make them last quite a bit longer, giving him more power in the long run. And his cannon towers are taking care of everything that's coming towards the ships. Those Twilight Crawlers go right into the path of the first ship, and it just knocks them over. So if you happen to have any units nearby, they're really easy to take out. He dropped a mine right in the path of the ship again there, taking care of a bunch of small units just with 1 mine. He's put up a mortar tower near the first camp in the south, and another cannon tower near that to cover the cave where periodically units will spawn. And you notice he's keeping his units ahead of the Treasure Fleet ship here. Dropping mines is needed to take care of groups, and going after individual units with the rest of his guys. Now, at this point in the map is where random spawns start coming in from the north to attack the initial base, and because he's got a couple of long-range towers near the orb, they will basically start attacking them and attract them towards the orb instead of towards the base, so that they'll get taken out by those defenses. He's used a suppression spell here on the Twilight Willsapper tower, so it won't do any paralyzing this time. He did that on the first pass here, I think, because it makes it a lot easier than taking time to go there and take that tower out. And it lets him keep escorting his ship, getting to the end zone as quickly as possible. Now he's put up a couple of towers at the next spawn point, a cave just basically in the center of the map, north of the other cave. And he's used suppression to take care of the Twilight Bombard here, and a little crowd control, and all of his units focusing on that Bombard will get it down before the Twilight even come out of the Cold Snap. Really impressive micromanagement here, taking care of, several units at once with only 3. I mean, he's only got a group of looters, a scavenger, and a Sunstriders here. He basically took out a whole group of units and a couple of buildings. So really impressive. There's some Twilight Slayers on the back of the ship there, but he's just letting his cannon tower take care of them. And at the end zone, he's also put up a mortar tower to take out the Twilight group that's just southwest of the end zone, and he's wasting no time, starting right away, going after the Twilight spawning building there. He's put up a couple of cannon towers near the north cave, and now he's got all 3 of the random spawn caves covered by defenses, and also his first orb. The 2 cannon towers, more than enough to handle the first tier units that come out at the beginning of the game here. I sacrifice a scavenger at the end there. You're going to start out with a new group of units to escort the second ship. As you can see, the cannon towers are not only are they taking out the spawns, but there's a couple of small Arrow 1 units that are spawning in the path of the fleet, and the cannon towers just take care of them too. Now, for the second escort and to take out the next group of buildings, he's got tier 3 now. He looks like he went for a nature orb up in the northeast, and so he's using deep coil worms. Deep coil worms, very powerful, flexible unit. XL unit at era 3, so not many things have XL attacks at era 3 to take care of it. He can send that deep coil worm out to solo the Twilight Will Sniper Tower with a suppression on it. All it took was 1 deep coil worm. And in the south, he's taking out the southeast Twilight Camp now with nothing more than his towers and a few magma hurlers, the all-purpose ranged unit. He used the magma hurlers to pull him back to his towers. Eventually the deep coil worms came in to help, and he basically cleared out that southeast camp. Now he's going to go after the buildings. Incidentally, that cold snap there that he used to freeze things in the southeast camp was quite an accomplishment, because there are 2 anti-magic generating units in that group. So you have to be very careful when you're attacking that group if you want to use any crowd control, but he pulled it off. He's using 1 deep coil worm to stay ahead of the ship, and using the rest of his units to continue clearing out the southeast camp. And as you can see, his towers are still doing a great job covering the caves. He's spawned a couple of primal defenders as air defense, because we've got Twilight creeps starting to come into the mix now. But his group that took out the southeast, these magma hurlers and deep coil worm, are now taking care of a large group of wandering units that came in from the west, and they're eventually going to head west further and clear the area where the 4th orb is. Now he's got a kobold engineer up by his towers in the north, and that's going to pretty much guarantee that nothing is going to be able to take them out. So here he goes towards the 4th orb area, and he does something very interesting here. He sets up in the southwest part of the area, which means he's out of range of one of the towers. A very clever play there. So that tower that's in the north part of that area can't even reach his units. And he can use a little crowd control, a little cold snap, a little persumoink to keep the more dangerous units there in control, while he leisurely takes care of the buildings and the other units. So very slick micromanagement going on there. Now his primal defenders are making themselves useful by taking out the flying Twilight creeps. Cannon towers have no trouble with the units on the ground. And that ticking sound means that the 3rd ship is on its way, and so he's accomplished the achievement for starting the 4th orb building before the 3rd ship comes. He's been healing his units with Ray of Light, which is an Era 2 healing spell. Nothing more powerful, because he also wants the achievement for using no spells greater than Era 2. That kobold engineer is keeping his northern towers repaired, and he takes his attack force into the area southwest of the end zone, finishing it off. His mortar tower took care of most of it. Built up a couple power wells there, and there's really not much left. He wants to kill off all the buildings as quickly as possible, because that's one of the tiebreaker achievements. But he's got pretty much everything covered except for this area right here, where our wandering group is coming into the path of the ship, and he's put a primal defender in there to get their attention so he can chain crowd control them while he is working elsewhere. So in the north, he's clearing out the northern area, and also at the same time the wandering Twilight Wrathgazer and Horrors. And that primal defender was enough to hold those horrors and hags at bay while he finishes off this area with the help of a little crowd control. Drops a mortar tower to start working on the northwest area, and he has summoned in a couple of tremors to take care of this wandering patrol, which has almost made it to the ship at this point. But a little crowd control and a couple of tremors almost completely took care of it. He brought his attack group down, but he didn't really need them. The cannon towers and the tremors got him just in time, because you can see the shadow of the ship coming in there from the south. Now he's taking his attack group, and he's getting ready to... He's defending this area right now. There's another group coming in, but he's getting ready to take out the last northwest area. He took out that... Defended against that last group, heading northwest. His mortar towers are starting to pound on the northwest camp. There's one more wandering... The group of wandering Wrathgazer and Horrors and Hags is respawned. So he's making sure that they don't get his ship before he goes in for the final attack. The ship has taken no damage. That's another achievement. There's nothing basically to attack it. There's nothing left in the path of the ship now. He's got all the caves covered by towers. He's killed all of the spawning areas. He's just now killing the last spawning area. Pulled the creatures outside. There's a Twilight Dragon in there, so he wants to avoid getting its attention as long as possible. Killed the wandering units before actually going after the camp. He's using crowd control on the large units and focusing on them, taking them down really quickly. But he got the dragon's attention there, but he backed up, and the dragon backed off. Kind of surprised me. I would thought it would kept coming, but it didn't. Now there's yet another Wrathgazer spawned, but he's got so much force here now. He's got 4 or 5 deep coil worms, make that 4 deep coil worms, 5 magma hurlers, and he's focusing them all, and things are just dropping immediately. Like, he just took out that dragon in a second. Maybe 2 seconds. He's also summoned a living tower. Not sure why he summoned that, maybe for healing. Certainly not for any more attack power. Maybe he's using it as coverage for the Twilight Death Colliders that are spawning for the next wave. Dunno, but the ticking is going, which means the next ship is coming. And there he finished the last building. I think he got the fastest time for clearing all of the buildings. That was the tiebreaker on this map, because this map takes a fixed amount of time because the ships come at regular intervals, so you can't really finish this map quicker than the fixed time scripted in the map. Now he's got living towers up at all of the spawning caves because the primal defenders aren't quite powerful enough to handle them. And he's just killed off the last regular units on the map. He took care of the buildings first before the units. Now it's just overkill time. He's got razor leafs at the caves. He's got building more towers. He's taken his attack group to the center cave. And there's nothing left for him to do. Everything is killed. The only thing that's coming into the map at this point is from the spawn, so he's got the spawn areas completely surrounded. I'm going to click it up to 8x speed here, and let's review all of the achievements that Obstbaum has completed. Winner, 100 points for beating the map. Taking the War to the Twilight, 50,000 points for destroying all the buildings. Icy Dead People, 2,500 points for killing all the enemies also. Leave No Man Behind, 2,000 points for not losing any wagons. You Can't Touch This, 2,000 points for getting a wagon to safety without it taking any damage. And he actually did that with the last 2 wagons, but he only got 2,000 points for it. Say Hello to My Little Friend, 1,000 points for finishing the map without any T4 creatures. My Home is My Castle, 1,000 points for finishing the map without any T4 buildings. Mens Agitad Molum, forgive me for mispronouncing that because I don't speak Latin, 1,000 points for finishing the map without any T4 spells. My Kingdom for Horse, finished the map without any T3 or higher creatures. That one he didn't accomplish, and the general consensus in the forums was that that wasn't possible without glitching the wagons. The Roof is on Fire, 2,000 points for not using any T3 or higher buildings. May the Force be with you, 2,000 points for not using any T3 or higher spells. Down to Earth, 4,000 points for not using any flying creatures. Counter-Strike, 2,500 points for starting Orb 4 before Wagon 3 starts moving. Rise of the Windweavers, 2,500 points for using only Tier 1 units until the first wagon reaches the end zone. Great Protector, 1,000 points for not losing any orbs or wells. Midsummer Night's Dance, that was the little dance you did at the beginning, that's 2,000 points. Nothing to Hide, 1,000 points for putting non-password protected replay up on the forums. And finally, I Work for Phenomic, 100,000 points for finishing all the achievements, except Nothing to Hide. Of course, nobody got that one, but he did all but one achievement, giving him a grand total of 76,600 points. So congratulations to Obstbaum for winning this community challenge, and be on the lookout for more community challenge videos and more play for free videos coming soon from me. Bye-bye.